What is up, my friends, and welcome to Flippin' Bats. The votes are all in, the announcements are all made, and we're going to talk about all of those right here in this episode with the most recent ones, MVPs. Shohei Ohtani has done it again for the third time in his career. Shohei Ohtani is MVP. Aaron Judge also again MVP on the American League side of things. We're going to talk MVP, Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, a little bit about Manager of the Year, and then some updates on some things happening around the league. The Juan Soto sweepstakes, those have really, I don't know if heated up is the word, but we're definitely getting some more words about certain teams and their meetings and how they're going. What that means for the Yankees if they were to re-sign him. Roki Sasaki updates, Alex Bregman updates. We got a lot coming at you, but it just went down, and here we are to talk about it. Shohei Ohtani, the first DH in Major League Baseball history to ever win the MVP award. Now, why is that? Well, everybody says the DH shouldn't win MVP because he's not playing the field and he's just hitting. And specifically this year with Shohei, there's no pitching to be had. And I've said it before. Now it's come true. Shohei Ohtani could win the MVP if he was just hitting. That's how good he is. And here we are, MVP of the 2024 season, first DH in history to do so. He's not a normal DH, right? I know a DH is typically a guy that's up there just slugging, hitting homers, can hit for a high average, but the guy stole 59 bases this year. He created, invented, whatever word you want to use. The 50-50 club was started and founded by Shohei Ohtani, one member, and he started it this year. 59 stolen bases. Look, if you want to go back to a DH and see how many bases they normally steal, Shohei did have the record, but Paul Molitor had the old record at just 24 stolen bases for a DH. Shohei broke that record and now has the record of 59 stolen bases for a DH. So, again, not your typical DH. He gets on base, he steals bases, he hits over 50 home runs. What a year for him. Now you look at it, back-to-back MVP award, 2023 and 2024, which really just got me thinking about this guy's career. I have said a million times, you all know, I've said it a million times. This is the greatest player I've ever seen, the greatest talent of all time, and in my opinion, the greatest player of all time. He's got a little bit to do. I said that before the year. To be the greatest player of all time, I think you need to have some championships in there, and I think you need to do it over the long haul. Well, this year goes a long, long way for that. Now you look at the fact that he entered the league in 2018. Shohei Ohtani was Rookie of the Year in 2018. He didn't pitch. He got hurt in 2019 and 2020, and then he was back in 2021, MVP in 2021, MVP in 2023, MVP in 2024, Rookie of the Year in 2018. Every single year that he's been fully healthy, besides 2022, when he and Aaron Judge had that crazy year, he's either won Rookie of the Year or Most Valuable Player. That's absolutely incredible. This year, again, 50-50, 411 total bases, which is the highest total since 2001. When, yes, guess who? Barry Bonds had 411, the same total in 2001, that record year for him. And only 15 times in history has 411 total bases been exceeded. Only 19 players in history have even reached 400. Only 30 times since 1900. And then again in 01, Barry Bonds with 411. So a remarkable season that has all led up to his MVP award, his first in the National League, first ever for a full-time DH, back-to-back MVP awards. I can't say enough about this year. It was extremely historic, one of the best offensive seasons we have ever seen. If he was playing a defensive position, we are probably talking about it as the greatest offensive season ever. But people will say, well, he's a DH, so temper those conversations. That's what I was told at the beginning of the year as well, right? Shohei could win MVP as a DH. Well, temper those expectations. He's not playing a position. Well, if you go above and beyond like he did and have one of the greatest seasons of all time, steal 59 bases, hit over 50 homers, there's really no argument to be had. What a remarkable season, and it just happened. Shohei Ohtani wins his third MVP award, back-to-back MVP awards, one in the American League, then one in the National League. in his first season. So much went on with the Dodgers this year to win to win the World Series, to get in the playoffs, to be a big reason they even beat the Padres because of that big homer in Game 1. Dislocated his shoulder in the World Series. Um, just one of the greatest seasons you'll ever see from the greatest player of all time, Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, case closed. This guy is the greatest talent any of us listening, anybody listening right now, the greatest talent anybody has ever seen on a baseball field. He didn't pitch this year. He's going to be in Cy Young contention next year. I'm not saying he's going to win a Cy Young award. I'm not saying he's going to finish as the finalist, but that's how good he is on the mound. He is a Cy Young caliber pitcher, and he didn't even do that this year. He's doing it next year. And then offensively, we saw what he could do this year. We saw what he can do on the bases. Any single one of you, how often can you say this about a player, about a sport, any sport? You can say that any single one of you listening, Shohei Ohtani is the greatest, the most talented baseball player that you've ever seen. You can't say that in the NFL. Too much speculation there. You can't say it in the NBA, LeBron or Michael Jordan, whoever you want to say. You can't say that. You can't say that in any American sport besides baseball. The guy that we are watching play right now, Shohei Ohtani, is the most talented player that any of us have ever seen. And there's something really cool to be said about that for sure. Shohei Ohtani, another one. His third MVP award, first with the Dodgers and his first season there. 50-50 club, 411 total bases. Just absolutely insane. On the American League side of things, speaking of historic, Aaron Judge wins it once again in the American League, 2022 and 2024. 58 home runs for Aaron Judge this year, 322 batting average, an on-base percentage of 458, and he slugged over 700 on the year, 701. Just absolutely insane. One of the greatest offensive seasons you will ever see. I know I said that about Shohei. I'll say it about Aaron Judge. One of the greatest offensive seasons you'll ever see. The highest single season WAR for a New York Yankees player since 1957. And that year was Mickey Mantle. So Aaron Judge, the expected AL MVP, and absolutely deserving AL MVP. Now that Shohei's in the other league, I mean, we're going to get Aaron Judge and Shohei. Who knows how many times they can win the award now that they're not battling each other. But we could see this a lot more. But in their first year in separate leagues, Shohei winning MVP, Aaron Judge winning MVP. What a year. The Yankees are not where they are. I know Juan Soto went there, and I don't think the New York Yankees are a World Series team if it weren't for Juan Soto. But this team, the Yankees, is Aaron Judge's team, and they are not where they were this year without him. I know a lot of people are going to talk about his postseason. I don't care. It's such a small sample size. He is Aaron Judge. He's an incredible baseball player. Then he does need to fix that narrative. Because it is real. His postseason stats are not great, but this is a regular season award, and he had one of the greatest seasons you will ever see, and does deserve every bit of credit for this season. One of the greatest offensive seasons that you'll find. So absolutely incredible there for Aaron Judge. Good on him. Second MVP award. Shohei Ohtani just winning his third. All of this just happened a little while ago, and yeah, so. Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani winning the MVPs. Before we get to the other awards, I want to talk. I want to talk Soto. I want to talk Roki Sasaki, Alex Bregman, a little bit about those guys. But MVPs being the most prevalent awards that just happened, and now we'll talk a little bit about Juan Soto. Speaking of the Yankees, Juan Soto. First off, before we get started there, make sure you subscribe wherever you listen. Wherever you watch. If you're watching our YouTube channel where you can watch every single episode, please hit that subscribe button, leave a comment. All that really helps. And if you're listening, make sure you hit that subscribe, follow button, Apple, Spotify, wherever. Leave a 5-star review. All of that stuff really does help. And this episode and Flippin' Bats is presented by Go Sleeves, best recovery tool on the market. I mean that wholeheartedly. The kinesiology tape inside of the compression sleeve. I don't care if you play baseball, if you're young, if you're a professional, if you're playing golf, if you're playing pickleball or tennis, literally football, it doesn't matter. Best recovery tool on the market is Go Sleeves. So check out gosleeves.com/Verlander for 15% off of everything they have. It is truly a remarkable tool. Let's talk Juan Soto and the New York Yankees, because the Soto sweepstakes are the big talk of this offseason. Where's he going to go? Who's he going to end up with? Is it back at the Yankees? Is it with the Mets? Is it with the Dodgers? Is it with the Red Sox? Well, there's a new team in the mix, and that's the Philadelphia Phillies, who we have heard are interested, obviously. But they are going to have a meeting with Juan Soto as well. So the Phillies are a new team in the mix. Dodgers have met with Juan Soto out in LA. Mets have met with Juan Soto out in LA, and the Yankees have met with Juan Soto out in LA as well. Mets reportedly offered. There's an offer on the table, an initial offer of 15 years, $660 million is the initial offer, is what we're hearing. Obviously, you don't accept the first offer you get, but that's coming in hot and heavy there for the Mets. And another report out there is that Steve Cohen is willing to go $50 million over what any other team is offering. So let's say another team comes in at $650 million. Well, Steve Cohen's going to come in with $700 million. So I have said it in the past couple of weeks. I have been very vocal about how Juan Soto is going to be a New York Met. In my opinion, money-wise, he can get the most money there, and winning-wise, and this is the one I get the most scrutiny about, but I mean this. I think winning-wise, the Mets are the place to be. Over the next decade, the Mets have more flexibility to spend, solely because I believe in Steve Cohen to spend more than I do with Hal Steinbrenner. And I just don't think it worked if you're the New York Yankees. The Yankees had Juan Soto last year. So now you're going to have to pay him far more. He's going to get over $60 million a year. You have Judge making, this is specifically just with next year, but all of these guys are signed through at least 2028. Aaron Judge, $40 million next year. Garrett Cole, $36 million next year. Giancarlo Stanton, $25 million next year. Carlos Rodon, $27 million next year. Add over $60 million per year for Soto, and that's being generous, but $60 million a year would put them at $190 million in 5 players. And those same 5 players, it didn't work last year. And again, the scrutiny can come from saying, well, they were in the World Series. They beat the Guardians and the Royals to get there. That's no discredit to either of them, but they're not the big bad beasts of the American League. They're just not. They did have an easier path to the World Series, and you can't argue that. They had an easier path there. And then when they finally played a dominant team that was a big bad beast in the Los Angeles Dodgers, they got their doors blown off. They weren't on the same playing field. They're a different team. So you're telling me you're going to add that same player back in Juan Soto for over $60 million, and then for the next half decade, your roster is going to be 5 players tied up for about $200 million, and it didn't work last year? I don't think the Yankees are the best place for him. I don't think he's dying to go back to the Yankees, if he's being honest. And by all accounts, Juan Soto asked Hal Steinbrenner and the entire organization that was there for his meeting about the player development, about what they're doing, about sell me on the player development of this organization, because currently it's not working. You got guys coming up and you got sloppy defense on the field. You have a minor league system that's at the bottom of the league. Why would I want to re-sign it? It didn't work. And I don't know if that's the play for the Yankees either. Take that $60 to $70 million a year and flip it over onto 5-6 studs. I think that's the better play for the New York Yankees. But they're certainly in the running for Soto. The fan base wants it. Hal Steinbrenner hears it. He literally went out loud and said, this was in a meeting after their meeting. Hal Steinbrenner said, I've got ears. I know what is expected of me. And he also said, we're in a better starting position than we were a year ago. There's no doubt about that. Look, year after year after year, payrolls similar to this and the luxury taxes they produce are not sustainable, not feasible. And that's the case for the vast majority of owners, and maybe all owners. It doesn't mean in any given year I can't do what I want to do. I mean, we've got the ability to sign any player we want to sign. And then he said, we'll be in the mix. I'll leave it at that. So we'll see. But I'm still, and even more so than when I said it 2 weeks ago that Juan Soto is going to the Mets. I feel even better about that now. Steve Cohen's willing to go 50 million over anybody else, and I do believe they're set up to win more so than the New York Yankees. I think Juan Soto is going to end up a New York Met. That's my belief. Um, let's talk Roki Sasaki because there's some news there as well. As I've broken down many, not many times, but over the last couple of weeks. Remember, Roki Sasaki is not going to come over and sign this Yoshinobu Yamamoto type deal for over $300 million in a decade. He can't. He's 23 years old. He's too young to do that. Meaning, if he's under 25, which he is, he has to sign a minor league deal and can only sign for international bonus pool money get from a team. But the news is that it's looking like his signing will likely come in the 2025 class. Now, that does mean he is still planning to get posted this offseason, but what that means is don't expect him to get posted before January 15th. His signing is most likely going to come January 15th or later, and that's where bonus pools reset. So every team has the ability to give him all their bonus pool money and sign him. And so really everybody's in play here. And everybody's been under the assumption, and myself included, my prediction is that he goes to the Dodgers. But here's why I want to temper that. I would say as I predicted Soto to the Mets, and I feel even better about that. I predicted Sasaki to the Dodgers, and I would say I would walk that back just a little bit. I would still have that same prediction, but I don't feel quite as good about it. Everybody's pools are resetting, and then you think about a couple of factors here. One, Roki Sasaki has a chance to make, God knows. I mean, if he comes over 2 years later, he would probably make over $300 million. He's going to have to sign a minor league deal and sign for his bonus pool money is, I don't know, let's call it around $7 million. If somebody gives him their whole signing pool bonus, let's call it somewhere between $5 and $7 million. Obviously, forgoing a lot of money. How do you make up for that? Well, you make up for it in endorsement money. Now's where we have that real discussion. If I'm a Japanese player and I'm a phenom coming over before I can make a lot of money and my money's going to come from endorsements, I ain't going to Los Angeles. I'm not going to the Dodgers. That money's spoken for. That endorsement money is spoken for. The 90% of it was Shohei Ohtani, but Yamamoto getting some as well. But that well is dry there. Those endorsements are dry in Los Angeles, and they're all wrapped up. And if you're somebody that wants to have an endorsement for a Japanese player with the Los Angeles Dodgers, it's not going to be Roki Sasaki. It's going to be Shohei Ohtani. So if I'm him, I'm going elsewhere looking for that money. I'm going elsewhere to get that endorsement money. Maybe even somewhere on the East Coast. Maybe somewhere like the New York Yankees. But I'm going East Coast. I don't think it's going to be with the Dodgers. There's a million reasons for him to sign there, right? Competitiveness. They're going to win some more World Series over the next 5 to 10 years. They have Shohei Ohtani, good friends, Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. They're, by all accounts, great at developing pitchers. There's that aspect. But there's also some big reasons why that might not happen. But that's the big update is do not expect him to sign anytime soon. It will be January 15th or later because it is looking like and expected that he will be part of the 2025 international signing class, which puts those dates in play. So keep an eye out for that. Another one before we get into the other awards is Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman's a big talking point. It has come out that the Astros are having, quote, a lot of discussions with his agent, Scott Boras. Now, Scott Boras plays a big factor here, as he does every single offseason, because one, he reps a lot of massive players, but two, he is a guy that's going to get his player the most money possible. And negotiations look a little bit different when he is your agent. But the report that we are hearing about Alex Bregman, and we have heard Dana Brown, GM of the Astros, and the Astros come out and say he is our priority. Our goal is to make him our third baseman. We want to keep him. And by all accounts, we're moving forward in this offseason like we are going to get Alex Bregman. Now, Ken Rosenthal has reported and came out that Alex Bregman and his agent Scott Boras are looking for a deal closer to 11 years and $350 million, which is similar to what Manny Machado signed. I love Alex Bregman. He's a friend of mine. I like him a lot. I don't think he's getting 11 years, $350 million. I just don't. So if that's what they're looking for, that changes everything this offseason. I don't think the Astros are in the running for 11 years, $350 million. I think that statement is literally just if this is me thinking through it, I think that's him and team, mostly team, just putting out there, this is what we're looking for, knowing that's not what they're getting, but really just telling everybody, hey, anybody's got a chance here. We're going after the most money, and we will sign with whoever gives us the most money, in my opinion. Is that going to be the Astros? I don't know, maybe. But I do think there's a lot of other teams at play here with Alex Bregman. But the big report over the last week is that Boris and Bregman are looking for a deal over 10 years and for over $300 million. I don't think he's going to get that, but interesting what that does to the market. Those are the big player talking points. Now let's talk a little bit about the rest of the awards that came out. This week was all of the awards. We talked MVP because it literally just happened. We'll talk Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, and a bit about Manager of the Year. Rookie of the Year awards. National League was the big talking point. Is it going to be Jackson Merrill? Is it going to be Paul Skeens? It ended up going to Paul Skeens with 23 of 30 first place votes. Jackson Merrill ended up with 7 of those. Paul Skeens becomes only the second Pirate ever to win Rookie of the Year behind Jason Bay in 2004. What a year for Paul Skeens, obviously. Remarkable. Did finish third in the Cy Young voting as well. Jackson Merrill hit 292 with 24 homers, 90 RBIs, and a 127 OPS plus. That's a fantastic, fantastic season. But when you do come up and put up the numbers that Paul Skeens did, I do understand it. I liked Jackson Merrill. He played every day. He's a big reason that team was as good as they were. But you can't argue with Paul Skeens getting it. I do understand that. The dude absolutely dominated an ERA under 2. One of the greatest rookie seasons for a pitcher that you'll ever see. So congrats to Paul Skeens there. By the way, some cool Paul Skeens news. Topps has officially released a 1-of-1 MLB debut patch signed Paul Skeens card. Nobody has gotten it. It is out there in a pack somewhere, but it has officially been released, and the Pirates are doing something cool. The Pirates went public and said, hey, whoever finds this card, we have an offer for you. You give it to us in exchange for 2 season tickets behind home plate for the next 30 years, autographed Paul Skeens memorabilia, jerseys, a meet and greet with Paul Skeens, a spring training experience down there in Bradenton, and a lot more. And then his girlfriend, Livy Dunn, who is an LSU gymnast and national champion and just an absolute stud herself, also threw in the mix. And I'll add to this. You can sit in the suite with me and watch a game. So just a cool thing here with that card coming out, and whoever finds it and the ability to trade that in. I don't know if this interests anybody other than a Pirates fan. There's no guarantee that a Pirates fan finds it. And 2, that offer is worth definitely a couple $1 million, but I think that card's going to be worth even more than that. So does that anyway, my point is just a really cool offer there from the Pirates. And Paul Skeens himself is looking for that card and ripped some packs open. Obviously didn't find it, but that card is out there somewhere. Shout out Topps for putting that out, and a good, cool campaign for that happening. But Paul Skeens, NL Rookie of the Year, American League Rookie of the Year. Also, another bit of a talking point. Was it going to be Luis Gil? Was it going to be Colton Cowser? Well, Luis Gil ends up taking that award home. Look, here's what I have to say about this, because there was a lot of talks about, hey, how does Colton Cowser not win it? He's a rookie. He hit 242 with 24 homers and a 123 OPS plus. Luis Gil, a really bad second half. Here's my thoughts. Luis Gil had a good year, right? A 3.5 ERA on the dot, a 171 strikeouts, had a 10.1 K per 9, and a 189 batting average against. Now, his first half was absolutely dominant. Second half stunk. But if you switch those, due to recency bias, everyone in the world is saying, yeah, Luis Gil should be AL Rookie of the Year. What are you talking about? But when you really look at those numbers as a whole, 3.50 ERA with 171 strikeouts and a 10.1 K per nine, those are really good numbers. So I think he deserved it. He added himself to an impressive list of Yankee Rookie of the Years. The last couple, obviously, being Aaron Judge in 2017 and Derek Jeter in 1996, are the last two. Just the tenth Yankee ever to win Rookie of the Year. So congratulations to Luis Gil, New York Yankees Rookie of the Year, and looked really good in the playoffs. By the way, I know he had a bad second half, but good in the playoffs. One of the best first halves for a rookie you'll see. Incredible year. Congrats to him for AL Rookie of the Year, and I do not disagree with that one bit. Let's talk Cy Young Awards in the National League. 35-year-old Chris Sale gets his first Cy Young Award in his first year with the Atlanta Braves. This is a great story. I mean, Chris Sale was absolutely dominant with the Chicago White Sox. Obviously, his tenure there ended on a bit of weird terms. We all remember the locker room cutting the jersey mishap. And not a mishap. He did went in and threw a tantrum and cut up all the jerseys so that they wouldn't have to wear the throwbacks because he didn't like wearing them. Just wild, but crazy. But that happened. Then he goes to the Red Sox and just deals with injury after injury after injury. Some serious, a lot of them serious, but some your typical injury and some your just a freak weird finger injury. Just everything seemed to happen to him, and you just felt terrible for him. And then he ends up going to the Braves, and everyone's saying, oh, the Braves traded for a washed-up pitcher. Love that for the Red Sox. Well, guess what? In his first year there, he wins the Cy Young Award. He's the first pitcher ever to finish in the top 5 of Cy Young voting in 5+ straight years, then finish outside of the top 5 in Cy Young voting for 5 straight years, then immediately another top 5 and wins it in his first year with the Braves. First pitcher to ever go and do all of that, which is insane. Top 5 years in a row, out of the top 5 years in a row, then you win it right after that. Just truly a remarkable roller coaster for Chris Sale. And a dominant year, the triple crown, the pitching triple crown in the National League, which is ERA, strikeouts, and wins. Congratulations to Chris Sale there. In the American League side of things, Tarik Skubal, first ever Cy Young Award there, led all of Major League Baseball in 228 strikeouts, led the American League with a 2.39 ERA. Chris Sale, by the way, with a 2.38 ERA. He was just second behind Sale there, obviously. Won the AL pitching triple crown. 21 pitchers ever to win a unanimous Cy Young Award, and Tarik Skubal adds his name to that list. So just dominance from Tarik Skubal. I said it before the year. I predicted he would win the award, and he did. He went out and dominated. He is the best pitcher. And I asked this question on Twitter and Threads and Blue Sky. Got all those, by the way, now. Ask this question there. If there's just one Cy Young Award this year, who gets it? Tarik Skubal or Chris Sale? And that answer for me is Tarik Skubal, who is the best pitcher in baseball currently. Obviously very young. The dude throws 100 from the left side. This is what I said before the season starts. He's looking incredible in spring training. The dude throws 100 from the left side, and he's absolutely nasty. And he did it. He dominated all year long to the tune of a 2.39 ERA. He was incredible in the playoffs. I can't wait to watch the career that Tarik Skubal is going to have. I'm a Tigers fan. I don't hide that. But seriously, I think he's the best pitcher in baseball, and that goes for everybody else involved right now. Just dominance from him. So pitching triple crown for both Chris Sale and Tarik Skubal. Wins, strikeouts, and ERA, each of them in each of their leagues. Only the third time ever that both Cy Young Awards were left-handed pitchers, if you're wondering. 2024, 2002 with Randy Johnson and Barry Zito, and then in 1977 with Steve Carlton and Sparky Lyle. So Tarek Skubal, Chris Sale, very deserving. Really cool to see them both win that award. Congratulations to them, each of them on their Cy Young Award. Chris Sale at 35 years old, and Tarek Skubal, very young, very new in the league, already his first of many for Tarek Skubal is my prediction there. Last of the awards, Manager of the Year, Pat Murphy in the National League and Stephen Vogt both win it. Stephen Vogt in the American League. Only the third time that that's ever happened, that both managers were in their first year. 2015, Joe Maddon with the Cubs and Jeff Bannister with the Rangers. And then 2006, Joe Girardi with the Marlins and Jim Leland with the Detroit Tigers. But both very deserving. If I were to have a rebuttal or a conversation here, I would say A.J. Hinch in the conversation in the American League. I can't argue with Stephen Vogt, but what I would say is there is not a person in the world, a manager in the world that could do with the Detroit Tigers what A.J. Hinch did with them in the second half. I don't think you can put any manager in that role and say, all right, go get in the playoffs and then be able to do it. I think A.J. Hinch is the only reason, is the only person that was able to do that. Historic. They obviously had a 0.03 chance of making the playoffs at a certain point, and we saw them end up making it. A very historic run they went on. My argument would be that A.J. Hinch should get that award, but I do get Stephen Vogt getting it. Pat Murphy on the other side with the National League. My only argument is that Dave Roberts should have at least been in the top three. Crazy for me. His best job as a manager came in this year, and that's pre them winning the World Series. Obviously, a regular season award. Dealt with a million injuries, but I do think Pat Murphy ultimately should have won it and did win it. So, Manager of the Year, Stephen Vogt in the American League, Pat Murphy in the National League. Cy Young Award, Chris Sale in the National League, Tarek Skubal, as predicted in the American League. Rookie of the Year, Paul Skeens in the National League, Luis Heel in the American League. And Most Valuable Player, Aaron Judge wins his second MVP award in the American League. Shohei Ohtani has won his third MVP award and his first in the National League. So what a week it has been. I did see a question online that in regards to Shohei winning MVP that said, Ben, do the Dodgers make the playoffs without Ohtani? Somebody arguing that he shouldn't win the MVP award. And before I go, this is what I'm going to say. This is what pisses me off. For the last, 5-6 years, all I've heard about Shohei is he shouldn't win MVP award because the Angels still stink without him. And now this question's addressing that exact same thing on the reverse side. Ben, he shouldn't win MVP because the Dodgers are good enough without him. I hate that argument. What's the guy supposed to do? Okay, are you kidding me? The Dodgers aren't as good without Shohei Ohtani this year. What a year for him. That argument is ridiculous. It's not his fault. He was on a terrible team, and then he goes to play for a great team because he wants to win championships, and then people are going to say, well, they're just as good without him. He shouldn't win MVP. What a joke. Get that question out of here. Get that narrative out of here. Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, your two MVPs. It was award week, my friends. All the awards are officially handed out. Free agency rolls on. Juan Soto news is coming hot and heavy. I could see him making a decision before the new year. Within the next month, I could see him making a decision here. But there reportedly was an offer put out there on the table for 15 years, $660 million by the New York Mets. And also reportedly, Steve Cohen is willing to go $50 million over what anybody else did. So keep your eyes out there. Offseason rolls on. A lot of free agency news coming. Flippin' Bats is going to have you covered every single step of the way. Again, thank you all for watching and listening. It truly, truly means the world to me to have this show and to be able to talk baseball. And I know there's a lot of baseball shows out there, and I'm so appreciative of you all listening to this one, because there's a lot of shows that just talk one team or a lot of negativity, and that's never been the way we've done it here. We talk the biggest things happening. We'll talk any team, and we'll talk about a lot of things positively. And I love that about this show, and I love that about this community. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen or watch. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, wherever, hit that subscribe or follow button. It really helps. And leave a 5-star review. That does as well. And if you're watching on the Flippin' Bats Pod YouTube channel, make sure you leave a comment. I comment back there. I love talking to you guys, and Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow along on all social media as well. But I love you all. Thank you all for watching and listening. The offseason rolls on. And the big ones, my friend, MVP awards. Congratulations to Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge for winning another MVP award. That does it. Until next time, my friends, remember, find your bat and flip it. Peace.